Would you like to accelerate your career and reach your full potential in just minutes a day? Welcome to the LEADx Show with New York Times best-selling author and Inc. 500 entrepreneur, Kevin Kruse.
Would you like to learn the secret to becoming insanely productive throughout the entire day? Hello everyone, Kevin Kruse here, and today we're going to learn about extreme productivity and organization. First, I want to encourage you though to subscribe to our newsletter at leadx.org. Each issue has actionable tips you can try right away to advance your career and to fulfill your potential. Just visit leadx.org. Our guest today lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with her husband and 2 sons, and she is the girl behind Just a Girl and Her Blog. That's where she offers help and resources to those who want to create a beautiful home, life, and business. She's too modest to mention it herself, but she's quite the entrepreneur. She's generating almost $500,000 a year from her home-based business. Our guest is Abby Lawson. Welcome, Abby.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining. We're going to talk about organization and productivity in just a minute, but first, in the spirit of leadership is influence, we are all leaders every single day. So tell us a time when you failed as a leader and what did you learn from it?
Sure. Well, I haven't thought of, one instance where, I did something wrong and everything blew up. But I would say as far as, starting my blog and kind of leading it, my husband and I both do it together now, but I was the one that kind of spearheaded it and started it. The thing kind of that held me back and that I would consider a failure, maybe looking back on it, was that I let fear get in the way and I didn't pursue the things that I wanted to pursue. And I wasn't, brave enough or have enough confidence myself, when I first set out to start my blog and business, to really go for it. So I think that, probably delayed things by a lot and it all, worked out fine now. But I'm still constantly learning daily, to kind of try to push fear aside and be bigger than the fear. And really go for it, because I think both in leadership and in business, that it can just be binding if you're willing to give into that.
I love that. Be bigger than your fear. What is your advice for achieving work-life balance? I mean, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a busy entrepreneur. What does work-life balance look like for you? Any tips?
Well, when I first started to think about this question, I was like, well, does that exist? Does work-life balance really exist? But I do think that, the longer I do this, the longer I find ways to make things more sane. At the beginning, I was just crazy busy and trying to hustle like 24/7. And then I got burnt out. So that really isn't the key. So for me, it comes down to setting my priorities and making goals based off of those priorities. And then scheduling and budgeting my time based on those goals. I realize I can't do everything. I've learned to delegate, more, which is hard for my type A personality. But when it really boils down to it, my job is to focus on those top priorities and the goals that I've set, and everything else kind of has to go to the back burner. And so that is how, we've kind of moved from me working constantly 24/7 to a more balanced, less insane schedule around here.
Abby, on your blog called Just a Girl and Her Blog, you offer advice on organizing your life, how to be productive, and a lot of cool advice about how to make money from a blog. Now, one of your most popular posts is titled, "The Simple Technique That Helps Me Be Insanely Productive Every Single Day." So what's that technique?
So it's called time blocking, and it's really simple. Basically, the way I do it is I write out my to-do list, and I have a to-do list for our home, for my business, and kind of for our family and like things that I need to do, for my kids and things like that. So I write down all my tasks that I need to do in a day. And then once I have that list, I schedule each of those tasks into a time slot on my calendar. So I plan out exactly like from 9 to 10, I'm going to check email. And from 10 to 11, I'm going to answer comments on my blog or whatever it is that particular day. And so I plan out pretty much every minute of the day what's going to be happening. And it rarely goes exactly how I have it planned. But what it does for me is it gives me kind of deadlines and times during the day that I, have to meet and be done with this certain task. So it keeps me on task. I'm a lot less likely, to go down the Facebook rabbit hole or get distracted by something else, because I know that if I take too much time on this task, it pushes the rest of my schedule back, and I won't complete everything that I set out to do that day.
Now, listeners, I hope you're paying attention and listening really carefully. Those of you who follow my work know that's, one of my maxims. I say, schedule, don't list. Live from your calendar, not a to-do list. Now, while Abby started out saying she has her to-do list, what she's really doing is, that's just a parking lot. She's then scheduling everything on her calendar. She said to the minute, and then working her day, living her day from that calendar.
Right.
It's okay to dump your tasks out. I still like, carrying a notebook and writing stuff down, but I really applaud this idea of time blocking your entire day. Abby, you also talk about the importance of morning routines, evening routines, but there was one little nighttime habit that you said was life-changing. What's that habit?
Yeah, so I started, instead of plugging in my phone right beside my bed, I started plugging it in across the room overnight. And that was life-changing just because, I wasn't tempted to, go on and surf right before bed or right when I woke up. And also, I use the alarm on my phone. So when my alarm went off, I was forced to get up immediately and walk across the room to turn it off. So I wasn't tempted to push snooze and roll over because I was already up on my feet and already moving. So it really, just that one little thing changed a lot for me.
I love that, Abby. I'm going to share that with my teen daughter, who I know, she says she's going to bed, and then she's looking at her phone for a long time in bed.
Yep.
And not only is it delaying her sleep, falling to sleep, but that blue light that emits from our phones can really, mess up our sleep cycles as well.
Sure.
So let's expand on that. I think to win the day, you actually have to start the night before. So what's your advice about evening routines?
So in the evening, for our family, we kind of start after dinner. We try to, straighten up the house. My husband actually does the dishes. Yay for him. And then my boys and I work on straightening up the living room area and kind of the common areas so that when we come down the next morning, everything is all situated and ready to go. And then we put the boys to bed. And then I usually, finish off any last minute loose ends, whether that's business wise or home wise that I was doing. And then I make my time blocking to-do list for the next day and plan out, what my day is going to look like. And then I might read a little bit, plug that phone in across the room, and then head to bed.
Again, people are often thinking about how to be productive when it's too late, when they're already in the middle of their day. So many of the high achievers that I interviewed literally said, they don't just set a morning alarm, but they have an evening alarm, meaning, okay, the alarm goes off. Now it's time to straighten up the house, get ready for bed, tell the kids I'm going to go to bed in case they need anything, all that kind of stuff. I think it's really important that you take care of ourselves in that final hour and get ready to go to sleep. Abby, I like to challenge our listeners to get 1% better every single day. What's something specific you want to challenge them to do today?
I would just say to set some clear, defined goals for yourself. I think so many times our productivity and our motivation stems from goals that we have set and how excited we are to go through our day and to, greet our day. If we don't have anything that we're shooting for, we just tend to go through the motions and be more lethargic. So I would say, if you haven't yet, either for the year or even for your week or for your day, set some clear goals for yourself that you're working toward. And that's kind of what I'm doing with time blocking is I'm setting goals, for what I want to accomplish and giving myself deadlines for those. And I have found that when I do that, when I'm excited about what I'm working toward and have those goals that I'm trying to reach, I'm a lot more productive and I feel a lot more motivated.
They say you can truly tell what someone values by looking at two things, their calendar and their checkbook, how they're spending their time and how they're spending their money. Abby, that's great advice. Get clear on your values and turn those into goals. Look at how much time you spent on your goals today or yesterday. Time blocking will ensure that you're reserving those minutes to invest in what's most important to you. Abby, what's the best way our listeners can find out more about you, your books, your online courses, all that good stuff?
Sure. Well, they can find me at justagirlonherblog.com. I write posts about home decor organization as well as the business end of blogging and growing your business. And I also have a free course that I would like to offer to your listeners.
Oh, awesome.
It's called Intentionally Organized, and they can sign up for that by going to justagirlonherblog.com/Kevin.
Love it.
And they can find all the info there.
That's great. Really appreciate that. Everybody should run over and get that free course. Again, I was mentioning before we went live, I can't remember how I found your website, but I loved it. And you talked about the whole Facebook rabbit hole. I felt like it was a rabbit hole on Just a Girl and Her Blog. I want everyone to go there and check it out.
Well, thank you.
All right, friends, you've just been mentored by Abby Lawson, an entrepreneur and author who's an expert in productivity and organization. You can get links and show notes from this interview over at leadx.org. And listeners, let me ask a favor. If you got your money's worth from this podcast, take 60 seconds, go onto iTunes, subscribe to the show, leave a 1 or 2 sentence review. It's the best way you can help me out. The more reviews we get, the more likely iTunes will be to recommend the show to new listeners. Until next time, remember this quote from Abby Lawson. Life is busy, life is hard. If you're making progress and getting a little closer to your goals each day, I'd say you're doing a pretty good job.